Front and Center. Front and Center. A focus on important and significant developments affecting the lives of Filipinos, not only in the Philippines, but also those living and working around the world. Join us in Front and Center. Front and Center. Here on Radyo Pilipinas World Service.
Welcome to Front and Center, where we focus on developments in the Philippines, legislation that provides policies and directions that strives to promote a better economy for the country, issues that concern the welfare and well-being of every Filipino. All of these and more will be Front and Center. You can watch this program live on our Facebook page, Radyo Pilipinas World Service, and you can catch up this program later in the evening through our YouTube channel. And also, you can hear us live on our audio streaming at Evox PBS receiver app. So join us for another edition of Front and Center with your host, Jerome Toledo.
Front and Center. Front and Center. Here on Radyo Pilipinas World Service.
All right, so let's have a recap of the interview of the program with different resource person these past few days. So it's going to be a regular segment of of this program, which is the recap of the interview of Front and Center with different resource person in the past few days. So let's start with the Department of Energy. As Energy Secretary Sharon Garin said during the presentation of the 8 new contracts in Malacanang Palace last week, that new batch of petroleum service contracts signed by President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. marks the largest batch of such contracts in Philippine history. And on Monday, we spoke to Director 4 of the Energy Resource Development Bureau, or ERDB, of the Department of Energy, Mr. Ninito Butch C. Jariel Jr., as he told us the goal of the approval of the new petroleum service contracts.
Applications.
Okay.
So the main goal of approval is to explore our indigenous energy resources and find new oil and gas resources for the country's energy security. So this will also allow us to explore for new gas reserves that will replace Malampaya. So the BARM, or the Bangsamoro Autonomous Region of Muslim Mindanao, this is also a first. We have jointly awarded service contracts in the BARM area and will open the exploration of oil and gas resources in Sulusi. So the other service contracts, Petroleum Service Contract 84 and 85, will allow our service contractor to explore the possibility and commerciality of our natural hydrogen resources in the country. This is located in Central Zone, San Jerome.
Oh, okay. And that was Ninito, or Director Ninito Butch Jariel Jr. of the Department of Energy. And on Tuesday, ceasefire agreement between Israel and Hamas has been signed by mediators United States, Egypt, Turkey, and Qatar. And that deal was part of the 20-point peace plan of the Trump administration to promote peace and security in the Middle East, particularly in Israel and in Gaza, and most importantly, end the 2-year war between the two sides. Meanwhile, Israeli ambassador to the Philippines, Dana Kirsch, told us that they were joyous on the release of some hostages, as she hopes that all hostages must be freed. And recently, half of 48 hostages were released, and the other half are expected to be released soon.
If hostages coming back and reuniting and getting hugs from their family was a day of so much hope and so much joy. It's, hope is also connected to sorrow, because you were hoping for better days, and a better day came, but there have been horrific days, and we are still waiting for the rest of the hostages to come back. Only the 20 hostages that are alive had returned, including 4 hostages that lost their lives. But we are still longing for the other 24 We're hoping for the release of 48 hostages. And there is a united international aid that is going to help us in this. The Americans, the Egyptians, Turkish and Qatari that are going to help us put pressure on the Hamas to follow the agreement and the first phase and return the additional 24 hostages.
Ambassador Dana Kirsch, now that the initial phase of the peace plan is in the works, she appealed to the Philippine government to lift the restrictions, as she assured that the Israeli government will protect every citizen residing and working in the country, including Filipinos.
Of the travel advisory, and I do hope to have many Filipino tourists coming to Israel and many Israelis coming to visit your amazing Philippines. And we can reassure you that Israel will do at its utmost to protect the Filipinos that are coming and enjoying our sites in Israel.
That was the Israeli ambassador to the Philippines, Dana Kirsch. Also on Tuesday, we were joined by Commodore Francisco Cacho, Philippine Navy, the exercise director of the exercise Sama-Sama 2025, as the Philippine Navy has conducted a naval exercise off the west coast of the Philippines, particularly in Palawan, with allies amid the tense situation in the West Philippine Sea and South China Sea. This naval exercise, Commodore Cacho said, supports the Philippines Navy or Philippine Navy's objectives under the comprehensive archipelagic defense concept in participation of the like-minded countries.
Dito sa ating activity na ito, maganda na involve natin yung participation ng iba't ibang country dahil dito natin na ipapalaganap yung ating effort sa Indo-Pacific, which is it should be governed by the respect of international law, particularly the UNCLOS, and it should be peaceful and secure. So ito kasing Palawan and the Philippines is currently challenged by the West Philippine Sea issues. So importante na itong mga like-minded nations, kagaya ng mga kasama natin sa exercise, ay kasama natin sa ating interoperability operation. So ito yung maganda dito sa ating exercise na ito.
One last question. And that was Commodore Francisco Cacho of the Philippine Navy, the exercise director of the exercise Sama-Sama 2025, as explained the importance of the naval exercise, which is the exercise Sama-Sama 2025. He explained the role of that exercise in connection with the comprehensive archipelagic defense concept. And on Thursday, yesterday, constitutional law expert attorney Domingo Egon Cayosa expressed gratitude to the new ombudsman, Jesus Crispin Boying Remulla, for overturning the memorandum circular of his predecessor, Samuel Martires, which restricted the public access to the Statement of Assets, Liabilities, and Net Worth, or SALN.
New policy contained in the memorandum of the new ombudsman Boying Remulla is more in keeping with the letter and intent of the Constitution, the SALN law, the Ombudsman law, and the Code of Conduct and Ethical Standards of Public Officials. And we have to commend him for that. We thank him for that, for complying with the constitutional mandate and the clear letter and intention of the laws that promote and require transparency and accountability of public officials.
And this week, just to recall, Ombudsman or Office of the Ombudsman overturned the memorandum circular to open the records of public officials, all in the midst of the corruption that hounds the government, particularly the memorandum circular that was overturned, which is the memorandum circular number 1, series of 2020, which was approved by the predecessor of the new Ombudsman Remulla, which is Samuel Martires. And in our interview with Attorney Cayosa, he pointed out the value of having public access to the SIL-N of government officials to monitor the lifestyle of officials through that document.
It's very effective because it allows people to monitor public officials. Because look at the corruption now. COA, which is mandated by the Constitution to be monitoring, was in cahoots with the thieves in government. Congress, which was supposed to be holding the power of the purse, became the mastermind of this wholesale corruption. The Ombudsman, despite all of these scandals and investigations and recommendations from legislative hearings to file cases, did not file the cases.
All right.
He did not do his job. So we cannot rely totally on the agencies of government. The courts are very slow, and some of them are also corrupt all the way up to the Supreme Court. So we have to rely on the people. Why? Because the power of everybody, any public official, comes from the people, and the money they use and the money they receive as salary comes from the people. So it's important that we give the people a mechanism by which they can monitor.
All right.
You cannot monitor if there is no SAL-N because you don't have a starting figure.
All right, that's right. Okay, and finally, he encouraged other branches of the government, which Attorney Cayosa said, to follow the Ombudsman's policies and file a resolution to make SIL-N document accessible to the public.
They should follow the example of the executive branch of the Ombudsman and pass a resolution making their SIL-N public. As a matter of fact, they don't have to wait for that. They should already publicize the SIL-N. Kung may hiya talaga sila.
Yeah, that's right. That was the voice of Attorney Egon Cayosa, the constitutional law expert, as he explained about the new ruling of the Ombudsman regarding the publicizing the statements of assets, liabilities, and network. And you just heard the interviews of the program Front and Center in the past few days. And we'll be right back here at the program. We will have more discussions regarding the developments here in the Philippines. You're watching Front and Center here on Radyo Pilipinas World Service.
Mas pinadali na ang government transactions sa tulong ng eGov.ph Super App. Pwedeng-pwede mo nang magawa ang lahat ng ito. I-download ang eGov app sa iyong smartphone o tablet mula sa App Store o Google Play Store. Pagkatapos, ilagay ang iyong mobile number at i-authenticate gamit ang one-time PIN o OTP para marehistro ang iyong account. Saka ilagay ang iyong mga pangunahing impormasyon at kumpletuhin ang facial recognition technology para sa verifikasyon ng iyong pagkakakilanlan. Para sa mas mabilis at mas maayos na serbisyong panggobyerno, gamitin na ang eGov.ph Super App.
Alam nyo, lahat ng mata kaya kong titigan. Puwera lang mata ng bagyo. Kaya sa tuwing hinahagupit tayo ng bagyo, tandaan ang listen, lock, and leave. Listen. Makinig sa balita tungkol sa direksyon at lokasyon ng bagyo. Tutok na sa mga news report sa radyo, sa TV at social media para malaman kung ano ang wind signal sa inyong lugar. Abangan din ang payo ng inyong LGU. Next, lock. Isara mga pinto, bintana, cabinet at main switch ng inyong bahay bago lumikas o pumunta sa evacuation center. And finally, leave. Lumikas ng mahinahon. Huwag ipagtulakan ang sarili kasi may taong nag-aantay sa iyo sa evacuation. Kaya laging tandaan, listen, lock, and leave. #panatag ang may alam.
Maging panatag, Pilipinas.
Kapag lumindol lang malakas, normal lang bang matakot? Aba, oo naman. Pero ang mahalaga, alam mo ang gagawin. Tulad ng duck, cover, hold. Duck, umupo agad para maiwasang matumba dahil sa lindol. Cover, Protektahan ang sarili sa mga pwedeng ma-fall sa iyo. Hold. Huwag mo nang tatakbo palabas. Hintayin tumigil ang lindol at pakiramdaman ng paligid bago lumabas ng bahay o gusali. Lagi ang tandaan para mabawasan ang pangamba sa oras ng sakuna. Duck, cover, hold. Hashtag panatag ang may alam.
Maging panatag Pilipinas.
Welcome back to Front and Center here on Radyo Pilipinas World Service. Still with me, Jerome Toledo. And recent developments, particularly in our saga against corruption, as Octo Research Fellow Dr. Guido David said the Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. is heading in the right direction. He said that President Marcos Jr. is heading in the right direction as he remains firm in efforts to eradicate corruption in government. While Dr. David acknowledged that more needs to be done to curb the corruption in the government, he said many Filipinos appreciate President Marcos Jr.'s effort to address the problem. And according to the Tugon ng Masa survey, which was conducted by the Octo Research, it was conducted from September 25th to 30th, it showed that 83% of 1,200 adult Filipinos support President Marcos Jr.'s decision to expose corruption in government, particularly in flood control projects. So that's a lot of number, 83%. So I think that's a majority of Filipinos back the decision of the chief executive to expose corruption in the government. And according to the survey result, only 3% of the respondents disagreed with President Marcos Jr.'s move, while 13% were undecided. So, Dr. David noted that Filipinos surveyed by the Octa Research want immediate outcomes, of course, including accountability for corrupt officials and contractors linked to anomalous flood control projects. And every Filipinos want immediate outcomes because this problem has been on this corruption issue, not just in infrastructure, but all of the projects are happening in the past few decades. So we can't blame Filipinos wanting to have an immediate outcome out of this investigations, which is being conducted now by the Independent Commission for Infrastructure. So Filipinos are looking forward to hold these corrupt officials and contractors accountable for their wrongdoings. And also, Dr. David added that respondents are also calling for increased transparency as well as the efficient and timely implementation of government projects. David also urged the public not to judge the entire government based on a few bad apples, apparently referring to corrupt officials. He expressed confidence that the issues surrounding the flood control projects will be resolved under the supervision of the Public Works and Highway Secretary Vince Dizon, and the government is doing everything they can, of course, to address the problem. They have. Although there is a situation that the Discayas are not interested to present themselves to the ICI, still the government is still doing everything they can to punish those officials responsible for those anomalous flood control projects. So it reflects on this survey that the majority of Filipinos want to, or the majority of Filipinos support the Marcos Jr. administration's decision to expose corruption in government. So Filipinos must appreciate that this administration is doing everything they can to punish those corrupt officials. But in the meantime, segueing to the appointment of the retired Police General Benjamin Acorda as President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. administered the oath of office of the former Philippine National Police Chief Police General Benjamin Acorda Jr. as the new executive director of the Presidential Anti-Organized Crime Commission. So not just the corruption that Marcos Jr. administration is addressing, but also the organized crime happening here in the country. As Acorda, a member of the Philippine Military Academy class of 1991, served as the 29th PNP chief from April 2023 to April 2024, and a pioneer of the PNP anti-cybercrime group. Acorda also held various key posts in the PNP, including the deputy director of the National Capital Region Police Office, as well as the director of the Integrity Monitoring and Enforcement Group, as well as the chief of staff of the Civil Security Group and the chief of the Anti-Fraud and Commercial Crimes Division. So he held a lot of positions in the police force. Before his assumption as top police officer, he was a PNP Director for Intelligence from August 2022 to April 2023. And he was a director of the Police Regional Office 10, which is in Northern Mindanao, from November 2021 to August of 2022. And the agency, which is the Presidential Anti-Organized Crime Commission, was created under Executive Order number 295, is tasked to investigate and prosecute organized crime groups and corrupt public officials. So PAOK can actually step in the corruption investigation happening right now. And also, the PAOK is also conducting intelligence operations and formulate anti-crime strategies. So the agency has been actively combating illegal Philippine offshore gaming operators, and I wonder how are they faring right now, the PAOK, in terms of curbing the illegal POGOs or the Philippine offshore gaming operators here in the country. So what's their status of their campaign against these illegal gaming operators, and how many illegal operators are being prosecuted by the PAOK? And also, the like I mentioned earlier, the PAOK can actually step in investigating the corrupt public officials that are involved in anomalous flood control projects, as well as the anomalous projects in farm-to-market roads and some other road projects and classroom buildings that were in question now. So the PAOK can play a lot in investigating these anomalies in the government. And with that, the developments here in the Philippines, we now conclude this edition of Front and Center here on Radyo Pilipinas World Service, together with our technical team headed by Mr. Milo Janela and Hero Lucero. This is your host, Jerome Toledo. Until next time, mabuhay.
You have just heard and watched Front and Center. Front and Center. Join us again for another edition here on Radyo Pilipinas World Service. Front and Center.